Welcome to the inaugural episode of Finding Equilibrium, where we hope to show you that life isn't a race. Success is multifaceted and, you're at the center of your own success, and whatever that looks like to you. Along the way, I'm pretty sure we'll be serving up some hot takes, guest speakers, and a whole lot of laughs. So let's hop into it.
I guess, do you want to start off with a little bit about ourselves?
Yeah, I put introduction.
Okay. Alright, well, I'm Reno. I'm 29 years old. I own a painting company. I've owned multiple other businesses over the years. I'm a dad. This is my wife, Chris. And
Hello.
then one of our best friends.
So,
We've been trying to do this for it's August. So 9 months now almost, because we were supposed to start at the beginning of the year. Everybody's backed out that's supposed to start with us, but we finally got it ironed out. So better late than never. But so this is all a personal development style podcast. More so the reality of success, because you'll see a lot of people online spouting off crazy stuff. You'll see a lot of 19-year-olds in Lamborghinis making $5-6 million a year, which is 100% possible, but it's not the norm. It's not the usual. So that tends to slow a lot of people down and kind of puts a little bit of fear into them, because they think that if they're in their late 20s, early 30s, early 40s or 50s, even 60s, that success has passed them up and it is too late for them, which is not the case. So the reality of it all is there's a million different ways to do this, and the whole point of this podcast is to help you become the best version of yourself that you possibly can be, without the buzzwords and the fluff and the typical shit that you hear all the time. So that'll be fun. But starting out, I'd say, I guess early teens. I played competitive video games in multiple different games. Had success with that, leading up to whenever I decided to stop, and then transitioned from that into bodybuilding. Had a very successful competitive career. Had sights on becoming pro, but life has other paths, so that never happened.
I interceded. Sorry about that. Sorry I ruined your career and introduced
No, you
to
didn't,
your
because
wife.
it was also
I so apologize.
I pulled back a little bit when we met, but then life decided to kick me in the teeth. 8-9 times. I got I tore my stomach twice, tore my bicep. I had a cancer scare. Had a hernia. Had our son.
Got married in there.
And got married, of course. That's coming up 4 years next month, actually. But, so I mean, life is, again, this is all part of the path to success, because it's 90 days, starting out, I think the first of the month is coming up on a little over 100 days since I've been back at it, and I mean, I'm up 35 pounds, and
do you feel successful?
Yeah, because during that time, at first, of course, there's still a lot of times that I beat myself up and have a lot of regrets about it, because that was my entire life. I gave up my teenage years. I didn't party. I didn't really hang out with anybody. The high school parties and high school times, and even early college. I mean, hell, I dropped out of college to compete. This was my entire life.
Yeah, I remember you ate chicken and rice 3 times a day, or ground turkey and rice 3 times a day, and look, I love those foods, but there's a limit.
Oh yeah,
okay?
But I mean, I was to the point to where I was obsessed with it.
Oh God.
Which I mean, that's also part of, you have to form an obsession if you want to be successful in anything. A healthy obsession, and I was also towards the end of it, I was getting to the point to where it was unhealthy, because I was trying to get my hands on and running as much stuff as possible. I was training ridiculously hard, which I mean, granted, 18, 19 years old, I had a 500-pound squat, but I'd go in there and rub my face on the bar until my forehead bled, because I was out of my mind.
Yeah, you were a little crazy. He once made me do lunges across the floor of the gym until I threw up.
Yeah, but I mean, that was my entire goal.
I threw up.
Every time I worked out, I either wanted to feel like I'm passing out or throwing up.
Right.
But that also stems from the fact that my mentors in that space brought that out of me, because
Did they do the same thing? They were the same level of committed as you are?
Yeah.
You were much younger,
Yeah, and that was part of the reason that kind of fueled all of that, is because, like, my coach, which I've got, I mean, you can't see it on the camera or whatever, but I got his name was Dutch, and his whole motto is Dutch Strength, and I've got that tattooed on my arm because, I mean, he was a man of very few words, and if you sucked, he would let you know. He did not pass up compliments very easily, but when that type of person looks at me, or would look at you and tell you, if you don't quit, you will become the best in the world. And then fast forward to my first show, they had Steve Mahalik, who was a big guy in the 70s. Tons of cool stuff. Go look him up. He was in a couple different like documentaries and stuff. Crazy smart guy, but he was the same way. He was very like blunt to the point to where it was like harsh.
Yeah.
I remember at my first show that I ever did, which I won the overall at, which I'll get into the rest of that later, but so I won the overall at it, and me and my best friend at the time met Steve, and my buddy wanted to know, he wanted to get in a men's physique, and he looked good, he had a good physique on him, he worked out all the time, but Steve met him, and he's like, yeah, sure, I'll take a look at it. He took his shirt, he wasn't even done taking his shirt off, and Steve was like, I gotta ask you a question, are you still in school? And he was like, well, yeah. He's like, okay, good, never do that. He's like, you're gonna waste your time trying to get on stage, you fucking suck. Like, those were his exact words to him. And then, after I won the show, Steve had came, obviously he was a big part of the show, he was backstage, and he came up and he was like, you have it. He was like, whatever you do, just remember, you have it. He was like, you were made for this. So giving all of that up was very hard, and it still is hard on me, but obviously I can still get back on stage at any point. But my whole focus was to become the youngest professional bodybuilder ever, because I was the youngest person to compete nationally in bodybuilding at 18, which did a lot of really good things for me in like the space at the time, but that obviously didn't happen.
Right.
So again, now, but looking back at it, all of the shit that I've done since then, how would my life look if that worked out? I mean, would we honestly be sitting here doing this? Would our son be born? Would we have done all of the cool stuff that we've done and whatnot? So I mean, the trade-off is like, of course, there's always a part of me like I could wish I could look in the magic ball and see what would have happened, like the what ifs. But I mean, that's just out of pure curiosity. It's not like if I would have seen that I would have been the best pro by 24. Like, it's not like I'd come out of that and hate my life.
Right.
Because
your life is great.
Yeah, there's a lot of really good stuff that's happened since then, and I've also learned a lot. But it's definitely hard. But I also learned a lot of discipline, which kind of transferred into all the other stuff, because shortly after I'd gotten involved in Forex trading, and I got hooked up with a guy, had a great opportunity, was set to make hundreds of thousands of dollars in back pay, and then moving forward, like, set my life up amazingly at 19 years old, and then contractually he was able to he threw in some loopholes, and we ended up losing out on millions of dollars in pay, which turned into me and 5 guys that I'd met starting an education company, which turned into private investing and all that, and a 4-month absolute craziness of working constantly, building this in a space that nobody really knew what we were doing at the time.
Right.
And then that transitioned into like my painting business, which I started and was extremely successful for a couple years, and then I needed a break because it was just too much at the time, and then kind of started working a regular job. But then prior to, I wanted to get into live streaming and had a bunch of success in that, and then
it's his face.
Sometimes. But then yeah, and then I kind of pulled back from that because we actually, it's one of those annoying things, but it's like wasn't supposed to happen at that time, because we had worked out a deal like between us that like I stopped painting and I had 90 days. If I made $1 in those 90 days, then I was good and I could keep going. Well, it took off because it was Call of Duty at the time, blew up, made a bunch of money, made a couple $100, but then came down to it and I never got paid. Right. So obviously you don't get paid, Yeah, it's I'm supposed to make the money, but where's the money? The money's not there, so it's irrelevant. So hung it up. Part of our deal, and I didn't fight it because I've never really heard of anybody not getting paid.
Right.
But then it was what, last year? Last year I'm sitting at my setup playing. It's 1:30 in the morning, and I get an email from Twitch with a $250 payout from 4 years ago. So if that payout would have came through, then that would have been a
Your
completely
life
different
would
story.
have looked different.
Yeah, but for whatever reason,
It doesn't.
yeah, exactly. So again, that was another hard thing because like I've always loved gaming, and then that didn't happen. So then of course I was like butthurt about it, but then transitioned, went and got a job in property management doing maintenance, and met a bunch of great people and had a great group of friends for a couple years. And then when that kind of phased out, then found out we were having Arcusio, and new company bought us out. They wouldn't pay me anymore for 3 times the work.
Yeah, no.
So we had him. A week later, we bought this place. As soon as we closed on this place, once everything was good, I put my notice in, quit my job, went back to working for myself. And then, what, 2 months later, you quit and went after your stuff with school? So I mean, it's been a roller coaster, and like still at 29, like we've got a deal that when I make my first million, I get my neck tattooed. Like, I've always wanted to get my neck done. I mean, obviously I've got a lot more work that's coming, but that's a big one. I've always wanted my neck done, and we have the agreement. Whenever I make my first $1 million in a year, I get my neck done. So whenever you see me with like my throat done, you know that's what happened. So
Yeah, I know who to call if I'm in trouble. And you know they're gonna look at you coming in there rescuing me like, who is this? And that's why he wants it done. That's
yeah,
exactly
pretty much.
why.
I mean, that's
You just
the
want to
only
be
reason.
intimidating,
That's
on the
the sole
outside.
reason.
but on the inside, you
That's
know,
the sole reason.
it's a totally different thing.
Because I mean, it's already funny when the kid tells me that he wants me to fight other kids' dads, and it makes the teachers nervous. So if you see me, I'd say add another 20 pounds of muscle onto what I'm at right now with fully tattooed out. Yeah, it might be a little bit more intimidating. So that's always a good thing.
Kid's gonna be like, point out that kid's dad. Kid's gonna turn around and point at you, and the dad's gonna be like, you on your own, son.
Yep. Like, we're not doing this.
I'm out.
That's the goal. But I mean, yeah, it's a long-winded backstory. But I mean, I've done a lot of shit
Yeah.
since high school, and then during high school and all that stuff. So I mean, like, I can obviously we can get into more of it in more detail because like it's still long-winded, but I left that a lot. I could probably go for 2 hours on
Oh, you're
all the
fine.
crazy shit.
Hmm?
Well, I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
but I know you guys also need to do your intros and.
Yeah, you
Talk
just
about all
edit
your stuff.
yourself,
Mine's
you
pretty
know.
simple.
I mean, go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
I'm a pretty simple person. My name's Chris. Hello.
Hi, Chris.
I am Reno's wife. We've been married for almost 4 years.
Been together for 10.
Yes,
Yeah.
been together for
Jesus.
That's the
almost 10.
reason that they will never
Um,
ever leave me as a friend.
There's that. That's how we
Okay.
met, thanks to you. We do have a 2.5-year-old, as you said.
He's so cute.
But my backstory to life is very simple. I'm a very one-track mind kind of person. I don't like to multitask. I do it because of what I do every day. Graduated high school, went to college for special ed, early childhood development, and I do absolutely nothing with that. I did work in a school for 7.5 years as a supervisor from kindergarten to 14. So what age would that be? Like 7th
eighth
grade,
yeah.
7th, 8th grade,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah. When they turn
Um,
into little aliens is when you let
There's
go.
that. And then I quit doing that. I worked in a plant, Dish Network, like DirecTV, Dish Network, all that stuff. I worked there for a couple of months. That was not fun.
You hated that. I
I
remember
did.
you
It was so
hating
miserable.
that so much.
It was
Oh my
awful.
God.
Well, I was still working at the school like Monday through Thursday, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday I worked
Yeah.
there. It was awful. It was atrocious.
Wasn't it like 5:30 to 5:30 or
Yes,
something?
it was 5 to 5:30.
Yeah.
The worst idea I've ever had, but I learned a lot because I worked with my hands and I was on my feet all day. I'm not
Right.
a girly girl, so when someone's like, "Oh, you can't work with your," yes, I can. I've done it. But then after that, I got my property management license. Well, I got my property management license before I started working in the plants. And then I worked in the plant for like, I don't know, 4 years or so. 4 months or so. And then I got into property management, and here we are 9 years later. I am a property manager of a beautiful community. We are toddlers, as I like to call us. We're not babies, we are toddlers. Fuzzy. And I love what I do. Right when little man was born, I took a break and went back to school for aesthetics. So I am also a licensed esthetician. I graduated school, which was 6 months. So as he said, had a kid, bought and sold a house, both quit our jobs, and then I didn't work for about 2 months, which was the first time in my entire career of working that I had not worked. And then my mom and I took a trip to Florida because my grandpa had passed, and then came back, and then I immediately started school right after that. Finished school, absolutely loved it, got a lot of awards, and I actually graduated first in my class. Not like first as in like your grades. I graduated first because it's based on the time that you're spent in class and the amount of hours and who achieves them first. And then I got a bunch of awards, a bunch of really cool stuff, and graduated, and I kind of needed a job after that, so I got back into property management. And
Well, it's not also that. You also got an opportunity to be a property manager.
yes, I did.
That was the thing. It's not like you just took like a shit job. You had a
No.
really good opportunity, so.
And I could have went into aesthetics, and one day I still plan to do so.
Your skincare
But-
routine is bomb, so
I do have a pretty nice skincare routine. But it was just the opportunity at the time that presented itself. And I have been there I've been back at it for 2 years, 2.5. Yeah,
Oh,
2.5
2
years.
years.
2 years.
There's,
Because I graduated
because he graduated in June, right?
I graduated,
You started in June.
Yes.
Yeah, you're supposed to start 2 months before, so I think you
I graduated in February,
Yeah.
and he had just turned 1. So a year and a half, give or take some change.
Yeah.
So anywho, I've been doing property management for almost 9 years. I love it. It's a lot of fun. I essentially look at numbers all day. Funny story, I was not a numbers person. When I was in elementary school, I sucked at numbers, but now I love numbers. Other than that, I love animals. We have,
Too many.
we do not have too many
you do
animals.
not have too many animals.
We have 2 dogs, 6 cats, and a turtle who is 25.
Yeah.
A turtle.
25.
Yeah.
Other
Got it
than
from
that,
the flea market too.
for a
That's
quarter.
like those goldfish that you get at the fair
So,
that people. I have a
funny-
story
I
about
have a really
that.
funny story.
No. Pause. Pause. We'll talk about your goldfish in a
Okay,
second.
we'll
Okay,
go back to the
okay.
goldfish stories because I've got a gem.
I've got one.
So
yeah.
anyway, yes, very simple person. My husband says I like to be the center of attention. I don't believe that's true. I'm pretty calm and chill.
You
Other
don't
than my
like to be the
pauses,
center of attention. You just
It happens
are.
sometimes.
Sparkle, sparkle. You just are.
But anywho, they're very open-minded. I am to some things, but I go to work and then I come home and I enjoy my life. And that's pretty much it. I don't venture out as you like to say I live in a bubble.
You do.
She does.
You do.
I don't know a lot of things that
Well, it's not that you
go
don't know.
on in
Well, it's
the
not that
world,
you
I
don't
guess.
know. It's just irrelevant to you because it's like the modern take on society right now. Like
You're
I can't tell you
naive
how
to
many.
it.
Yeah.
Because you're not
Yeah,
around it.
because
And it's
you
not
just
because
don't
you're
care
not
enough.
smart enough to understand it. It's because you're not around it. And why would you care?
Hello, Tam.
Please welcome our first specialty guest on the show, Tan, the
Back
cat.
up, cat.
That's
You
my
gotta
cat.
go.
That's
You gotta get off the
She's
table,
the center of
bud.
attention also.
Oh yeah, she takes after her mom.
But I
that's
guess
okay.
that's pretty much it about me. I just like animals a lot more than people. All of that 5-minute, 7-minute, 10-minute story to say I like animals a lot more than people.
That works.
That's okay.
That's it.
Yeah. Okay, well, congratulations.
Now back to your goldfish story.
Okay, we can do the goldfish story because I have one that's a doozy too. So we go to the fair and it's me and my little brother, and he wins this dang fish. Okay, and Mama Leah, can I take it home to your house? No, you may not. My mother was like, I'm not taking care of a fish. Well, I was there with a friend. Friend said, I'll take it. I'm like, okay, well, it's gonna live for like a week, and you're gonna be sad.
That's so awful.
He put this thing on his dresser drawers beside his bed. Never cleaned the tank. Fed the thing sporadically. Motherfucker lived for a year and a half. His mother moved the tank. The day after she moved the tank, he died.
Oh, it was pissed.
He was so mad about that tank being moved
That he died.
he died right there on the spot. He's like, "Don't you touch me! I'm gonna die."
And he did.
And he did. I just cannot believe he lived for a year and a half, and he would have lived. I swear he would have lived longer if she had not moved that
Probably.
thingy. Thingy is a word that we use here to describe anything that I can't think of.
So I have something similar to that. So, because like my parents and stuff live in Hanging Rock, and they have the community pool. We were up there swimming one summer, and this kid was having a birthday party, and he had a raffle for one of like the 25-cent goldfish that you can get, and he wanted every single person at the pool to get a ticket, and of course I win the damn goldfish.
And you weren't even
So
part of the
no, I wasn't
birthday
even part of the
party.
birthday party. I just randomly won this goldfish. So the dad comes up and he gives me the receipt, and he's like, "Hey, it was literally a quarter. This thing's probably gonna die tomorrow." I was like, "Okay, no big deal." So I brought the fish home, got a tank for it, and all that shit. That son of a bitch lived for almost 5 years.
Yes.
I mean, he got to be like the size of a softball. He was a mammoth
Man.
for a 25-cent goldfish. And the funny thing is I saw the dad like 3.5, 4 years later in the neighborhood, and I actually did some work for him, and he was like, "Oh, I'm curious, whatever happened with that goldfish? Like, I'm sorry if you kind of wasted your money." I told him, I was like, "I had that thing for almost 5 years." And he was shocked. He was absolutely shocked. But, yeah,
Well,
that's how it always goes.
that's how it always goes, honestly. That's exactly what life is.
Mm-hmm.
You really think, like, this is going to happen to me, or this is not going to happen to me, and bam, emerald, just right there.
I always knew I'd have a lot of animals.
Huh?
I always knew I'd have a lot of animals.
Yeah.
I know.
Hold on, I'm
Oh, would you
gonna
like
flip
Tan
this
wants to
screen
talk.
around.
Tan wants to talk?
Tan wants to talk.
Alright,
I grew
so-
up on a farm. I forgot that part. And a very, very,
There we go.
oh, we can see ourselves.
Yeah, I forgot to
Oh,
flip it.
hello.
Yeah, flip the
Um,
screen around so we
I
can
grew up,
kind of see. Not that it
here.
really matters, but
but my other family, my parents were divorced. Anyhow, my dad's side of the family was in a very little small town with a farm, and I had cows, chickens, horses, goats, pigs,
I'm gonna have to put her
donkeys,
up.
all the things. Where are you gonna put her?
I don't know. She needs to go on.
She just wants to talk.
Look, see?
Get down.
So yeah, I always knew that I'd have a lot of animals. She is fat and she is sassy.
Yes.
Hey,
She's about to get locked in a bedroom.
She would be mad.
Yeah,
alright,
but
I'm going to do my
yeah, do
introduction.
your intro.
I'm Jamie, former teacher turned gardener now. I struggle with my mental health daily. Visions of success. I actually had a mental breakdown today, you know, as one does.
Yeah,
Because I'm 29 as well, and I'm going back to college for the second time, and I already have 1 degree. I do have a bachelor's of education, and I was a teacher for 5 years, and that worked on my mental health way more than anything else in my life has. That job made me really reconsider what I wanted to do in life. And after 5 years, I couldn't take it anymore. I couldn't take the bureaucracy. I couldn't take the adults that were supposed to be on my team belittling me and not believing in me and saying that they were, quote, going to bat for me, when in reality, they were the ones that were causing the problem. So I'm coming around now to realize, you know, what success actually looks like to me. I'm back in school now. I go to school for horticulture, plants, landscape design, which is the passion in there. I really love designing. And it's a long road. I feel very stuck sometimes, like a lot of the time. mentally, physically, I feel stuck. And I have a lot of insecurities. And I know that, and they started way back when, and
We all do.
oh yeah, I
Yeah.
know, and that's why we're here. You know, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that I'm perfect. So listen to me. No, I'm telling you, I struggle
That's
with the
my
same
job.
thing as you. Yeah, it really is his job.
Shut up.
Golly, if you're perfect, then we are fucked. Jesus.
There's that.
Yeah.
But it's a long road. I love what I'm doing now. Like I was really finding it hard to find the joy in it this morning. Like it was really tough. I like cried in my car before I got to school. And then I got to school and I have urban tree care, which if it sounds like a fun class, you're right. It really is. I get to learn about all the trees, how to prune them, how to take the big old branches off, how to climb them correctly. Very neat.
That sounds fun.
But the teacher for that class, he's amazing. His name is Dr. Kevin Paris. He has his own magnolia. He crossbred his own, the K. Paris magnolia. You can buy it in a
That's pretty
nursery
cool.
catalog. I think that is really neat. Like,
Yeah.
That's super cool.
this man is, of course he has a doctorate. He is in magnolia propagation. Like he's been to China, like me, but for International Propagators Society. Like over there they love the southern magnolia. It's beautiful. They think it's one of the most regal trees, which I agree. If you've ever seen a 70-foot tall southern magnolia full bloom and you didn't cry, man, what's wrong with you? So this morning he's talking to us about wounding a tree, cutting it improperly and hurting the bark, hurting
That's
under
what
the
killed
bark,
that
the
big one
tree.
in the back.
Yes, so
Why do
you
you need to have
see
that
in
taken
that one
down?
where they cut it, when it fell, that bark ripped all the way to the trunk. That is a wound. Now, humans, when we get a physical ailment, we heal. We heal. We don't just cover it up. Trees cover it up. So if you make an improper cut, you're wounding that tree even further and putting its life, if you will, at risk for doing it wrong.
So our tree has knobbies on it.
Yes, in some places. Some trees are just predetermined. They do have knobbies. That's usually called by like girdling. If it's down at the base, the roots have curled around the trunk and they're now suffocating it from the bottom.
Oh no, they're like up at the top. You can see like you have to look at it in the daytime.
And it's yes, if someone has pruned that tree incorrectly, it will look like your big one outside where it's all rotted on the inside. But if it's correct, you will see that knobby because it comes over it. It doesn't heal. That was the point he was making.
It's like a
Trees don't
permanent
heal.
Band-Aid, kind of.
Trees grow around.
That's pretty cool.
They grow around their wound. When humans have physical wounds, we heal. When we have mental wounds, what do?
Around it.
We grow around them. Man, y'all, I couldn't deal with it. He lost his wife last year around Christmas. And
That's
just to
awful.
sit there and listen to him talk about emotional wounds and just how you have to build over it. That's just one of the strongest men on the planet.
That's pretty
And
cool
I'm
though.
sitting in the front row crying my eyes out like I am now.
It's okay. That's pretty cool though that he could compare his life to a tree. It's essentially
is.
what you're doing.
It is.
But
You
that's
have
really
to
cool.
grow around your wounds, and here's another thing: the smaller you make that cut, the more precise, the better you are at it, the less the tree has to do to heal. So, big emotional hits, it's gonna take you time to grow over it. Just little nicks, yeah, you can shake that off and run past it. But if you damage a tree large enough, you'll decay it down to the root. And I feel like a lot of people have that going for them right now. They have been damaged so much by so many traumas that it's in their roots now. And it's really upsetting. It's hard. And for a tree, sadly, you can't get that back.
Yeah.
As humans, you can. And that's what separates us, I'm sure, from the plant kingdom. But it's amazing. And I've really come to love, like, my garden, my personal garden. I want to grow plants myself specific plants. We'll get to that later.
Eye rolls.
But hey, if it's a lucrative business, it's a lucrative business,
Yeah.
and business is business,
Yeah.
baby.
I'm not knocking your business.
Okay.
Which
So
I've got a hell of a business plan for that one. All it's a-okay here.
I'm ready. Y'all ain't gonna have nothing on me. I've got it.
See,
down
I
pat.
don't know though, because so many people are going for dispensaries.
Oh no,
and
this
that's
is
not the way to do it.
Nope, this is not even your average just this is fine dining. I mean, I'm not serving no trash up in here.
Can't do it with you.
Okay? I mean the stickiest.
I cannot
Always.
do it with you.
But I have a long way to go here, and we're here talking about this stuff because, well, we deal with it every day. And this is cheaper than therapy.
Yeah. Some better than others, but I mean a lot of that is.
cheaper than therapy.
I don't know. I've had some.
I don't know, I've
Pretty
had some
shit
friends
friends
who
in the back.
just
Well, I mean, I think we
For the
all
most
have
part,
what you
yeah.
find
When you
For the
have-
most
yeah,
part.
yeah, when you have-
Okay, so
You and I have been friends for.
I was 9. I think you were 12, and you're now what?
32.
77. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
32.
Why y'all
So-
both gotta gang up on me like that?
Nobody's ganging
Fight
up.
back.
No.
Assholes.
There you go. That's what we want. Yeah, Chris and I have actually been friends since we were children. Her grandfather and grandmother lived right across the street from me. Her family still lives in that house.
Yes.
I
We'll
still live
build
in the
over
same
there.
house.
We'll be neighbors again one day. We're gonna build over there.
Yeah, they say that. They say that. I'm waiting on it because that's going to be a big commission for me, and I really need y'all to get on it. Because I'm going to design their whole property.
The unfortunate part is we're just waiting on probate. So
That happens. We
We're-
had to do that with that
we are
stuff.
legit actually stuck.
Yeah,
Like,
we're just kind of sitting on our
stuck,
hands
stuck.
until we're.
It's a
able
year,
to
right?
do anything. It's
Has to
been-
be in there a year.
No, so when Pops passed, his homestead
Here,
was.
hold on.
Yeah.
There you
Is
go.
that better?
Mm-hmm.
When Pops passed, his homestead was Florida, and in the state of Florida, he did not pass with a legal will, which,
Yeah, so it's been.
anywho, that's a whole nother story that we're
It's
not
been,
going to
what,
get into.
Yeah,
2
you know
years
what?
ago.
That's why we don't even talk about Florida because, I think
But
it's pretty lawless down there.
We're getting close, thankfully.
Yeah.
We're getting close.
Stuff's starting to. The wheels are starting to turn a little bit more. So.
That's good, and I hope I hope you are able to do it. I hope you are able to do that. I would love to.
We
be
don't plan
neighbors.
on leaving here for a while, but this in itself is a profitable home for us.
Yeah, I mean
as far
that's
as
just.
equity and things like that
Yeah,
goes.
I mean
it's
that's also just because where we got in interest rate wise, we got in
at an
what
unheard of
two
interest
and a half years ago,
Right,
about
yeah.
2.5 years ago, and I mean we got
Exactly.
the lowest. I mean our lender told us that we have the second lowest interest rate that she's ever given anybody.
That's
So
nice.
yeah,
Freaking awesome.
Meanwhile, my credit score. We won't talk about it.
It's okay. Reno tanked his credit score.
I've tanked it 3 times. It's back up to almost 800 again now
It's okay.
for the 4th time.
You know
But
what? I'm using the Chime Credit Builder.
hey,
Okay.
that works.
Hey, that thing is actually pretty neat. I'm not even gonna lie, and this is not paid or anything. Like,
Hint,
don't come
hint.
for me.
Just saying, it can be.
It can be because like I really do love Chime. I stopped using banks a long time ago.
I don't know what China is.
Chime is an online banking app. It's only online. There is no Chime bank brick and
Oh,
mortar.
okay.
Yeah.
So I stopped using brick and mortar banks a long time ago. They would charge me fees. They would charge me this, that, the third. And as an 18, 19, 20-year-old that was first time in college, first person to ever even think about doing big things, it was very stressful for me to always open up my bank account to a negative balance. Even when I was working at McDonald's at the time, working 40, 50 hours a week, like it wasn't enough then.
Yeah.
And so I stopped using them. I started using Cash App, but I moved to Chime when it had the credit builder available. You put money in the account and it treats that account like a credit limit.
Oh, that's cool.
I put $200 in there every paycheck and I use that to pay my bills, to buy groceries, to get gas, to do this, that, the third. I use that money to pay for myself. Any money left in my checking
And it
account.
builds your credit.
Exactly. It builds my credit with
That's
every
cool.
purchase. Now that's something I could have used a long time ago.
So does it have like a checking and a savings?
Yes, I have a
or-
checking, a savings, and the credit builder. So your savings,
Okay.
you can move, none of it is, there's no fee for moving money at any time. You can move your savings as much as you want. You know, it is more like, hey, if it's in there, you can move it, but how's that gonna feel for you?
Yeah.
Right.
It lets you kind of, I don't want to say it lets you make your own mistakes, but it really does let you manage your money much better than anything I've tried before.
That's pretty
So
cool.
I like it, and I
Do you
like
have,
being
like, a
able
card?
to. Yeah, so I have one credit card and a debit card. So they say credit and debit on them, and so my debit card is linked to my checking. The credit is linked to the credit builder, and I can move that money whenever I want. So if I had, you know, say a bill comes that I wasn't
I'm halfway
expecting,
tempted to open one now just for
That's
like the brand.
super cool.
it's really
That's
neat.
actually not a
I
half
don't know
bad
one for
idea.
me.
I mean, you can.
Yeah,
That's
hey,
freaking awesome.
and if
Didn't
you
know
get
that
a
existed.
qualifying, so like you're qualified for Credit Builder if you receive a direct deposit of $200 or more within your first 30 days of signing up for Chime. So if you have a small stream of income that you're like, it adds maybe $500 to your account a month, you can put all that in your Credit Builder and just use that card to pay for that stuff and every purchase.
It actually would
Backs it up.
not be a half bad idea to do and then add
Very bad.
him on as a verified user.
Yeah,
because,
definitely. Make
he'd
sure
he'd turn 18 within like 850.
Yeah,
That's my whole thought. That's pretty cool. I didn't know that much about it.
I
I'll
like
have to
it.
I'll have to do some poking. That'd be pretty cool.
And of course, it's with all the, you can put it in your wallet on your phone and all that. It works. And best part here, okay? Again, not paid, but best part, they have no fee ATMs everywhere. I can do an international transfer of funds because I was in China. No fee for pulling out money from another country's ATM.
Damn.
No fee.
That is
That
pretty
that made me happy because I was very scared. I got over there and I was really worried. I didn't have much cash, but I had my card. I knew they took card. And actually they're getting to where they don't now.
Where?
But China.
Okay.
So they're wanting all the WeChat Pay, pay on your phone with a QR code. Hey, it works, but I didn't
Don't
have
even need it
cash.
while
I
you're
had my
eating it.
card, and my card was getting rejected everywhere.
You're good. You're muted, so you can.
So.
Sorry, I'm hungry.
No, you're fine. So I went to the first bank, and of course the machines are in Chinese. I have no clue what they say. I just click on the button that looks like it says take money out of machine. So that's what I did on the first one, and it said incomplete pattern or something. Like, I was like, this is so frustrating. My co-teacher that was with me, she said, well, let's just go down the street. Let's try another one. You know, sometimes these banks don't talk to each other. We went down to China Construction Bank. I don't know why it's Construction Bank, but that worked, and you could change a machine into English.
That's
That's
pretty
nice.
helpful.
Now that is very smart. So I was able to pull out, I pulled out like 300 yuan total, which is 300 divided by 6, whatever. Probably about $100? 72? Something like that. That's all I spent over there.
50, 60 bucks, yeah.
For 2 weeks.
Not
That's
bad.
all I spent. I'm telling you. It's not bad. But it is hot. And you don't understand the language all the way. Okay.
How hot is it?
Well, to compare it to here, fairly the same, but up the humidity by about 10 to 15% every day.
That's gross.
Yeah, it's gross.
That's terrible.
Yeah, it's gross. I
Like-
came home and I could do this. Dirt. Just sweat.
No, that was
and
like
dirt.
even just now. Like I sweat so much. Like we got up in the attic earlier for all of 5 minutes. It was bad. I had to change my shirt and stuff for 5 minutes being up in the attic, and that's how it is
Your
every
sweat
day that I
dribbled
work.
on my shirt.
Yeah, it was like, but I also sweat like a faucet. Like
Yeah.
it's
It was
terrible.
literally
used to
standing
not to.
on the stairs.
I
Yeah.
used to not to. I did band all 4 years and all that, and I have never sweated like I sweat with my work program. I mean, I'm outside 3 days a week for lab. Today was greenhouse and nursery operations, so we're on the blacktop, the nursery pad, in the greenhouses at 1:30 in the afternoon. I
terrible.
feel like a swamp monster. It's disgusting. Okay?
Yeah.
Literally, I told her I had to have have a shade break. I was like, I gotta go. I'm gonna go drink water and try not to yell at anyone. Because listen to this. Okay, so the boys at this school, the men, are annoying. First of all, there was about 6 of us that raised our hand that wanted to go into the greenhouse and level benches. Easy enough
And
task. Level benches. Like, we have benches in the greenhouse to sit the plants on, and they were all kind of just shifty.
Oh, so literally
Leveling them
benches.
out
Okay.
so that when we water, the water doesn't run one way or another.
Got it.
Okay? So, all you need is power drill level.
Yep.
2 people can do that. 1 person can do that. You want to know how many boys were standing in there? 7.
1 working and 6 standing around.
Yeah.
That always goes.
Oh, I was so mad, y'all.
Are
I
they
was.
there for moral support or just
Yeah.
to get
Yeah,
out of
apparently.
class?
Oh, to get
A
out
bit
of
of
class. They know everything, so. It's a lot of the boys who do landscape on the side, and they own their own businesses, so, you know, woohoo, go them. I'm so proud of you. But don't make it harder on the ones of us who want to do this, like who want to do nursery or work in a greenhouse. We need direction from our professor, and she's standing over y'all like a bunch of fucking 5-year-olds because you can't get the job done without her looking down at you. I don't like that. And honestly, if that's how you do business, I don't want to deal with you.
Nope.
Because I know that you're going to upcharge me to stand around with your hands up your ass. And I'm not going to pay you for that.
That's what most people do.
I'm out there
Yeah.
sweating my butt off. Me and my group are in a greenhouse that has algae growing on the floor. It's so dang humid that we have to blow out every week with the leaf blower. Okay? We're moving 10-pound plants again and again and again. Sweat is pouring off of every single one of us. And what are they doing? Standing in the greenhouse where there's a fan going.
No.
Get
gotta
the
do what you
fuck
gotta do,
out of
though.
here. Like, I was so mad. I actually tattled.
I
Don't
would
give a
have
shit.
been mad too.
Like, yeah, no. If it was academic, I tattled on an academic too earlier. One of the people were cheating in one of the classes, and I went and told the professor. I'm like, no, I work my butt off for
Yep.
these classes. I don't cheat because I don't do that. That's my moral code. I get that it ain't yours, but you are not going to screw up me.
Yeah, no.
And you're not
No,
going to
no,
disrespect our teachers like that. Like, as a former one, if I see you acting a fool, you're not going to do that to my fellow brethren.
That's not
Okay.
cool. That's definitely not cool.
It's not. And, like, I can't see how people in college still
You're so
flex.
close to the microphone, it cracks me up. You don't have to be that close.
I know. I'm resting myself
Oh,
on
okay.
the microphone.
That works.
I don't see how people in college still get, like, oh, I cheated on that test. Shut
But
the
what
fuck
did you
up.
learn? Nothing.
They learned that they could cheat and get away with it. And at this point in my life in college, I'm not going to let you do it. If I
That's
see
not
it,
cool.
you're getting told on. And you know what? Call me a tattletale. I can work circles around you.
Did
Kids over here.
6 weeks of college. That's all I had in me.
It's okay. My ex-fiance did 6 weeks of college 3 times and failed out each time.
Nice. I just quit going. Well, that's why I didn't quit going to everything. I kept going to my public speaking class because I actually enjoyed that
I
one.
loved public speaking.
Which we actually later found out that we had the same
met-
class.
Well,
Really?
we didn't know each other then.
No.
That was how many years ago? 75, as you like to say?
Yes, because
Oh,
she is
That
what,
was
77
20
old.
I graduated in 2012, so the
14.
beginning of 2013.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a year before we actually met.
I loved my public speaking class, and I remember sitting there listening to you talk forever.
Yeah, so what pissed me off is I passed that class with a 99 because my final exam he had to take 3 points off because we had to get up and teach for
How does
I think
that
it was like
math to 100?
It mathed
because
to
you could
102.
do extra credit
Oh,
stuff. Like I did all the extra
I
credit
was
shit
confused.
because
Okay.
I loved that class. So it gave me like a 99 at the end. But he had to take 3 points off of my final because instead of going for 13 minutes, I went for 43 minutes.
Oh my god, ew. As a teacher, I just...
Well, that I no,
You were
but
passionate
After the
about it.
15-minute mark, I'm grabbing the
No,
little
but
cane
the
and pulling
thing
it out by
is,
the neck.
that was so I had it down to 12 minutes. He wanted me to keep going because I was the last person. He actually enjoyed what I was talking
Of
about.
course.
So he told me like I was done. He's like, "Do you think you can keep going?" I'm like, "Dude, I can sit here and talk for hours." Like I I was like, you tell me when you're tired of me talking, and I'll just keep going.
Yeah, and I'll stop. when
And
you're
yeah,
done.
he's like, all right, about 45 minutes later, he's like, all right, well, like, my next class is like 20 minutes late, so they're all standing outside, so we gotta wrap this up.
We
He's
gotta
like,
wrap
well, we'll
this
talk later on. So,
And oh,
I
how
was-
they did.
I was so like nervous and shy. I used to not like to, I guess, talk in front of people. I would get stage fright.
see, I used to be like that in like high school and stuff, but then
That's how I was in high school. Yeah.
we'll wrap it up in like 10 minutes.
You're
Or
good.
what time is
Hey,
it?
Ingalls is right up the street.
Yeah.
She has to make it Eagles by 11.
What time is it? 35?
35.
All right, so 10 minutes.
Good.
Yeah, so I mean, but yeah, I mean, I used to be nervous about that, but then
No, I love
I
my
just
public
love it.
speaking class. I went to a very good college for my first go around, USC, upstate. I went for my education degree. I wanted to teach. Technically, I wanted to teach music. I had a great band director in high school. Thank you, Mr. Bone. I still appreciate you every day for teaching me a lot of the stuff that I'm using right now to cope. And that includes throwing markers, if you're listening, because I still do that. But I didn't work out that way. My dad passed in my junior year of college, about 2 weeks before the start of the semester, when I was supposed to move to Columbia to continue pursuing my music education degree. And I just couldn't leave, you know, it's just like, life said no. They gave me a big fat no on that. It was very clear. No. And I stayed here. I continued at Upstate, and I moved to my second favorite thing in the world, which is reading, English. I was the best reader. I'm not gonna cap at all. I called somebody illiterate in 3rd grade. Sorry about that, but like, if you can't read, you can't read. That's okay. Like, I get it, but it is what you are.
I guarantee you she still randomly remembers that.
She probably does.
Oh yeah, I think it was a boy.
Oh, then
Oh.
he
I think it
definitely
was a boy.
remembers that.
Here, she called me illiterate.
Yeah.
And
He's
then
still
one
probably like, I don't know
time,
what that means.
some kid was pronouncing Massachusetts like Massachusetts, and he knew he was doing it because he was laughing with his friends. And I was like, "Are you dyslexic?" And my teacher had to excuse herself. She just, because it was just so out of the blue. It was like 4th, 5th grade. Are you dyslexic?
That's too funny.
And because I was so mad, I'm like, say it right. In my brain, it's like, say it right. And I couldn't hold it in anymore.
So how did we become friends then? If you were the smart one,
I'm the
I was
smart
never
one.
the smart one.
Yeah, we became friends because I'm the smart one. I became your friend. I'm smart. There's that. No, Chris was actually the cool kid.
was not the
the
cool
cool
kid.
teenager with the cool teenage friends. You know, like let's go out, let's go do things. And me and my young self was like, okay.
I don't feel like my life ever was like that.
She had me at the bar at like 3 a.m. when I was like 19. I'm begging to go home, and she's like, "One more dance." I'm like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?
I just
Are
liked
you
dancing.
on something?"
I was exercising.
You exercising
I was
her.
exercising.
You're exercising your right to get punched in the face with that. That's 3
You
a.m.
still-
I'm
you
sleeping
still
on a
went
bar
fine.
stool, y'all. I'm legitimately over there, hunched over a bar stool, literally trying to go to bed with a blanket as my jacket over me as a blanket.
home?
Like 2 hours later, she decided that
It was not 5 o'clock in the morning.
it was at least 4. It was
No,
at
it
least 4.
wasn't.
Oh my god, it was so late. I was
It's
also
only because you went to bed at 9 o'clock. So
okay.
yeah, for you that was
okay.
late.
I'm so sorry that I created a successful bedtime routine for myself.
And now I have one and you don't.
Exactly. Now I sleep whenever the hell my body shuts down.
Yeah.
I
Are
sleep
you laughing
with
at the
dinner.
fact that I go to sleep early?
No, I'm used to it.
You
I-
married a
I went like
grandmother.
I know I do.
You married a grandma.
I know.
That's okay.
Look, I ain't always been a grandma, okay?
No,
No.
she's not. There's been times that I'm like,
I used
that
to be
girl ain't
fine.
right.
Mhm.
That girl ain't
Yeah.
right. I tell you what. I've been watching a lot of King of the Hill recently. Okay,
I
rest in
watch
peace,
any
Johnny
TV.
Hardwick, to Dale Gribble. His
Never
voice
watched
actor
TV.
died. I'm very
I know
sad
that.
because they had a couple episodes out of the remake of the one that's like where they're aged up. Like Bobby's like teenager now.
I don't even
Apparently
know
he
if it's a
owns
remake.
like a restaurant or something. Yeah, like I love the show. One, because it's just very wholesome. Like
Excuse me.
I can see a lot of people I know in Hank Hill and in his friends, like, that's exactly what we do. Like, my turf professor is Hank Hill. I'm not kidding. He talks about growing alfalfa. He talks about fertilizing his lawn all the time. I mean, he talks about mowers constantly. I'm like, if you were any more Hank Hill, you would be selling propane. And propane accessories, don't forget about those. But he's a great man. So I watch the show because it's awesome and it's wholesome, but it's also a comfort, you know, with my ADHD and all that good crap. I tend to watch shows again and again and again. And it's simply because I know how it's going to end. I know what the episode's going to do. I don't have to focus on it. It's predictable. And I really try to watch new shows and I can't. Like, I turned on a K-drama the other day called Golden Spoon, and man, I got into it. Like, 2 episodes are like an hour long, and I was really into it. Haven't picked it up again since because I know in my brain, first of all, I'm going to have to pay attention to this because it's in Korean, and I'm going to have to read it. So I can't be doing something else.
Subtitles?
Exactly. Like, I read the subtitles, but I can't be focused on something else while that is going because I need to understand what that says because I like this show and I want to understand.
All of our
So-
CDs are in subtitles or have subtitles.
Yeah, because I can't hear without my subtitles, but I don't. I like to focus on my Discord, or if I'm working on homework, I just like the TV to be on. You know, none of us like to be alone with our thoughts.
So we're gonna cut this.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
gonna cut out, guys. However, thank you so much for listening. I'll be back next week. Hopefully, you know, bright-eared and bushy-tailed, ready to do some more. So
Yeah.
thank you.
We will
then-
eventually get to
It.
many points.
Yeah.
Don't
whatever
get to
it is.
it.
But so I guess to close it out, the whole point of this entire thing is just kind of touching on all different aspects. We didn't get into a whole lot tonight. It was
We
just
were
more
just
like
conversating
introduction.
and, like,
Yeah.
opening up
Yeah,
with
that's kind of the whole point. Is like,
Get your
Yeah,
jitters
this is
out.
us, okay?
Yeah.
This is
which
who
I mean,
we
this is
are.
gonna be pretty constant, but we're also gonna hit on a bunch of topics and stuff like that.
Yeah. So come
because-
back and listen and get
We'll be
your
doing
rocks
these every
off
week.
one way or the other.
That's pretty
I
much
may or
it.
may
You've
not
got
be
to.
asleep sometimes.
She's gonna be asleep.
Sometimes you might be asleep. Hopefully, it's gonna be the 3 of us every single time. But sometimes you're
Just kidding.
probably gonna be knocked out. I mean, you
okay.
never know.
You never know.
Because I mean,
Yeah,
realistically, I could do this till like 2 in the morning.
Yeah, same. If I
But-
didn't have to go to the store right now,
Yeah.
I totally would. Because I could do this all night. Shoot the shit. That's my favorite thing to do. Promise.
Alright, peacing out like Girl Scouts.
Peace out, Girl
Yeah.
Scout.
All right, we'll catch you guys.
Catch you on the flip
Next week.
side. Hey.